Hello, welcome back to the best episode of the Bunch of Nuts podcast in our seven
History.
7.5 year history. Ohio State has done it, Cass. We've been waiting for this day for too long, brother. We're national champions. The show can celebrate national championship. We did it. They did it. We just watched.
In the most exhausting way, too.
It was before we even get into the game, man. I just want to know what does this mean to you? What does this mean to you? This national championship.
Means the world, man. Like knowing that I covered four of those guys on that football team. Actually, if you want to count Max LaMonaco, let's count five of those guys that played at Pickerington. And some of them multi-sport athletes like Sonny Styles and Jack Sawyer. And, I only got to cover Lorenzo and Jack. I mean, I didn't get to cover Lorenzo and Ty Hamilton that much because I didn't do many Pick Central games. I did more Pick North games, and I mean, obviously, I covered Sonny for all those years. It means a lot, especially with Jack. Jack, the way he was a captain and everything. But as a Buckeye fan, this is my third national championship in my lifetime as a fan, and I've been a fan for a long time. And if you're, on the Silver Bulletin, you guys might as well call me the grandpa because um, I know more about the history of this football team and the history of this football program than any of you guys. And that's no slap. That's nothing against you guys. That's just Ohio State football is my life. Like,
Yeah.
you see my office. I got jerseys galore. I got memorabilia everywhere.
Anyone who's ever like met Cass or has gone to his home, I think that's fair. That's a fair point. If you've seen his jersey collection too, it's insane. All his memorabilia. This I know for a fact, bro. This means so much to you. Um, on a personal note, it means a ton to me. It's been 10 years since our last one,
Yeah,
2014. It was just such a magical season.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah, I was literally 20 at the time. I was 19 at the beginning of the season, turned 20. And it was just such an incredible season. And it kind of hit home for me because it's like there's a lot of people here that unfortunately are just they're not around since 2014. It's been 10 years and it's in, Ohio State, we're so blessed because we're such a great program and we're always in the thick of it. But like I have two roommates that were from the 20 like who I celebrated 2014 with that unfortunately they're gone and it's just like and I'm just 30 and it's like I was kind of overcome with emotion. Like I'm not trying to like choke up and stuff, but like
Yeah,
it just like it hit me like this
it,
is a lot. It really means a lot to us.
I'm looking right up at at my picture. I'm sitting here, 1999. I'm 11 years old. Archie Griffin with his arm around me, signed by Archie the day his jersey got retired. That's I'm covering the games with Fox. Seeing this team win national championships, seeing the heartbreak. I was at the Michigan game. Like I saw it firsthand. Like the this team, you know, down in the bottom, like the bottom bunks, hit rock bottom, and that
All hit rock, but it wasn't just the
yeah,
team fan base hit a
yeah.
rock bottom too.
And the fact that I'm cleaning up the booth where Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt are sitting, and I hear that Michigan band saying "It's good to be a Michigan Wolverine." That chant they do, and I'm looking at some of the Fox guys, and I'm like, where do we go from here? And then here, obviously, 3 weeks later, we start putting boots to asses to everyone. And I think with knowing that I've got family members that live in the SEC country, that are Alabama fans, that are Tennessee fans, to sit there and put boots to asses to two SEC championship teams. We beat Notre Dame in SEC capital with SEC refs, and we won every single game by double digits. I don't care what anybody says. We beat more top 5 teams than anybody in the country. We beat more top 10 teams in the country. Nobody's talking about the New York Giants who beat the New England Patriots, who were undefeated because they backpedaled into the playoffs. And was the last wild card team to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, they're champions. Nick Saban said it best. They lost to Auburn that one year and they won the national championship.
As a
Georgia,
4 seed.
Georgia, when they won their national championship, their first one, they didn't even win the SEC that year, and they lost to
How
Bama, and then they got redemption on Bama in the title game.
This is my thing to Michigan fans. Like, yes, they beat us. I get that. This is my thing to Michigan fans. How many national champions in the playoff area that did not win a conference championship and were the 4 seed that won the national championship? I guarantee you there was more 3 and 4 seeds that won the national championship than there was 1 and 2 seeds.
Yeah, so I mean, I just gotta say, it's been a historic run.
Yeah.
It meant so much to also like this season just meant so much. Obviously, becoming a father this year, like having Troy around him. I know he won't ever remember this, but him being able to watch the first quarter at least because it was a little past his bedtime, but like he got to watch a little bit of it, and like I'll always get to say like, "Hey, you're a national champion," and it's just like you saw that, like you will always have that, and it means so much to me. I'm going to play devil's advocate. I think Ohio State won an absolute run. I'm not denying that at all.
Real quick before you get into that, the year that I had personally, Level, and I'm not putting this on the podcast, my wife and I needed that victory last night.
Yeah, yeah, we all did. A lot of people did, bro. I did. I know a lot of people did around and Buckeye. A lot of people in Buckeye Nation. I know a lot of good people in this community that have been going through a lot of hard stuff the past year and a half, and not even football related, life related, bro.
Yep.
It was even Coach Day. Finding this out and like I was just so stunned when I heard that Coach Day. It's the 36-year anniversary of his father passing away, January 20th, and they talked about Marcus Freeman, being the first African American and Korean coach to coach in on MLK Day and national championship, and that's also the awesome story. He did a great job, but like the fact that no one even brought up that Coach Day was coaching on one of the darkest days in his life, for basically in one of the biggest games, and he did not flinch one bit. And it's just really touching to me. Like I'm just like
Yeah.
I can't believe he went out there and did that. And yeah, I'm really kind of emotional right now. I'm not trying to be like a Dan
Yeah.
Campbell cry, but I actually I'm kind of overcome with just emotion right now, bro. Like I don't know. It's like
It,
yeah, it's like kind of hitting me. No, but back to
Devil
my
advocate now.
yeah, no, it's good to get out. Back to my point though about the gauntlet and everything. Like Ohio State went through an absolute gauntlet. 5 teams, they beat top 5 teams, and then they beat, I believe, Indiana was 10 and Tennessee was 9. I think I'll say this. I think we'll see more of that in the future. Just the way the
Indiana
format.
was in the top 5 when we beat them.
Yeah, but I'll just say the way the format is, the national champion is usually gonna have to go through a gauntlet. It looks like the way because the best teams are gonna keep up.
Unless they start reseeding the way they is, like
Yeah,
that's where
it's absolutely historic what the team did, and I'm not taking that away. I just want to point out though, I think in a year or two we're gonna realize that's kind of gonna be that's gonna have to be the norm to win this.
well, it depends too. Like if you look back in this playoffs,
Mhm.
obviously the 2 best teams got in there, in my opinion, Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Yeah, there's no denying it.
But
The SEC people can play the hypotheticals all they want. When they played, when the toe met the leather, these were the teams that rose to the top.
but but here's the thing too. I think next year Boise State, SMU, and Arizona State are not getting first round buys.
No,
They're not. I think conference championships, throw them out the window.
and no,
Because
it's flawed. It's flawed. I like
look at the NFL. Look at the NFL. The NFC South champion is always what 7-9, 8-9-8. Always And the Philadelphia Eagles could go the year they went to the Super Bowl against where they won the Super Bowl. They literally had to go and play Carolina on the road, and Carolina was 9-7 or
Well,
7-9, and they were 11-5.
I
Like,
mean, the Vikings this year won 14 games. They got a wild
and they
card.
had to go to L.A. Well, Phoenix, but
The NFC North we thought was the best conference, the best division in the NFL. And look, it's I guess the NFC East, and like it's just at the end of the day, it's football. Nothing is given. You got to play the games,
and you
and
look
that's
back,
why I love this format because you
you
have
look back. If Tennessee would have beat Ohio State, they would have had to run through the gauntlet.
but if they did it, they're deserving. Like they
Yeah.
did it. At the end of the day, you got to play who's in front of you. You
Yep.
got to play the games. And
And Ohio State put BTA boots to asses.
and I recognize, in a year or two, we could be on the other side of this. We could go,
We
13
could
and
be the
0,
one seed in the Fiesta Bowl next year.
and we could end up playing, LS
Oregon.
or like a really good LSU team that maybe didn't win the SEC but they have like
Like,
the Heisman, the
think
projected
about it. Like, we
Heisman.
don't play Oregon next year, right? We don't play Oregon.
No,
Like,
no.
say Oregon loses to Penn State, because I think Oregon plays Penn State at Penn State next year. Ohio State beats Penn State in the Big Ten championship. Like, Ohio State gets the number 1 seed. Oregon gets the 8 seed. They host LSU, and Oregon goes through, beats Ohio State, beats LSU or Tennessee, or beats Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl, and then goes to the Rose Bowl and knocks off Penn or Texas or something like that. Like, it could happen anyway. It could be Texas next year, who doesn't beat Alabama and in Georgia. Like,
I mean, I'll say there's the one thing is the one side of the bracket was just so insane. It was the side with Notre Dame and Penn State. That side was kind of a joke.
they
And
slept. Well,
and
Georgia. If Georgia
Beck,
didn't lose Carson Beck,
yeah, Beck hurt this year. I'm going to say is probably kind of unprecedented with that injury and just how it all played out. But there's going to be changes. I recognize it's not perfect, but I just got to ask this question. Hey, Michigan, have you ever gotten this title yet? Have you ever gotten this one, the 12-teamer?
maybe when they switch from 12 to back
And
to
look at
8 or 16,
you
they'll
don't
get the
have
last one.
my Michigan fans. You don't have this one. You have a title that's a relic.
Hey, Michigan, this is a funny. I just thought of this. They shared a national championship with Nebraska when it was the coaches and AP national championships, right?
Yep.
The very next year was the first year of the BCS.
Yep. And
And
then
then the very last year they won a national championship was the last year of the 14 playoff.
and
So
then,
whenever
and,
they change the format of the playoffs, we know Michigan's going to win the national championship.
and then we're gonna win the next year and win the first version of the format, or like we didn't win the first one, the BCS.
No,
We were like a couple years off.
yeah,
But
Nick Saban beat us, and yeah, well, we know what you're talking.
yeah, but yeah, everyone knows what we're saying. But let's get into the game, Cass. It's time to kind of break down the game. The game itself, it was a pretty good. I would give it a B plus. It just if you were a blind viewer watching this national championship with no dog in the fight, I'd say it was a B plus. It was a pretty solid game. And
The second and third quarter was just so dominant by Ohio State.
Yeah,
Um,
but Notre
Notre
Dame
Dame,
made it interesting.
yeah, Notre Dame came out 15 plays down the field, and it's funny because Marcus Freeman said we got to be dogs out there, and all I can think about was the Coastal Carolina coach. We need more dogs, but
Well,
yeah,
you know what they
Notre
say
Dame,
about the dogs in Ohio? They're eating the dogs.
but I mean Notre Dame 15 play drive, 34 yards rushing by Riley Leonard. By the way, he finished with 40. He finished with 40 yards rushing for the whole day.
Sack yardage, though. Sack yardage.
Yeah, but they went down. High State made their adjustments. High State's offense went down, and just the brilliancy of the call. And I'm glad you sent me that clip from Todd McShay earlier.
So good.
where we ran the same exact play that we got beat by um, Alabama with Jeremiah Smith, and a lot of people, you could have went Quinshon Judkins for MVP, but I went back and watched the highlights. I went back and really thought about this. Will Howard was the most deserving offensive MVP.
He kept everything going.
13 of 13, he started the game.
Yeah, he was still on a completion streak from the game before too.
Yeah.
Uh, he played. I mean, he played fantastic. Didn't turn the ball over, and he finished with over 4,000 yards on the season. I want to point out. Just I think the play of the game for Will, I think outside the third and 11 was the touchdown pass to Judkins
Oh, yeah.
where he completely fooled the Notre Dame defense. I thought he was taking it too, and the IQ
Could
on
it, he went from being first and goal to a touchdown.
the IQ on Howard too to realize earlier on that drive, hey, they're in man, but they don't have a spy. Once all the DBs and everyone in coverage turned their backs, he was taken off for 10, 15 yards of rip. And they had no answer for that. Will was playing like prime Tim Tebow out there. It felt like but better.
Yeah. I I think Will Howard just he played his best game as a Buckeye. I really do, and it showed. We got the victory. Quinshon Judkins was the dog that I think him running like he did solidified that he's not coming back next year. Um,
No, he's not. But I didn't think he was. But it was a
it,
great way for him to go out.
but it's time for Justin Fry to get his flowers. What a phenomenal job Justin Fry did since uh, Josh Simmons went down. Tweaked the offensive line 3 times this year, and
I
it
mean,
worked. He got Luke Montgomery turning into what will probably be an all Big Ten offensive guard next year.
did you see that one block on that drive? It was like one of the first couple drives. He had an amazing block.
Yeah.
It's just even like the whole Josh Fryer, like I remember remember early on in the season we were in a year last year too. We were saying Josh Fryer's like the weak part of this line, and I know I think he got called for a hold, but Josh Fryer ended up turning into a hell of a player for Ohio State.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's gonna have a good career in the NFL. I think Donovan Jackson, who um, was phenomenal this year, earned some
he's,
money.
he's going to make a lot of money as a pro.
Seth McLaughlin, unfortunately, we didn't get to see him the rest of the year, but he's going to earn some money. I think Carson Hensman next year, when he gets drafted after next year, he's going to earn himself a lot of money too. I just think this offensive line was phenomenal. I think the tight ends were blocking all year was phenomenal. G Scott, I think G Scott's going to find his way on an NFL team, even if it's undrafted, and people are going to be like, he's going to stay on an NFL team.
I love G because he had once again he had such a good play on the first drive. It wasn't anything special, but it was after Notre Dame had that long drive that basically ruined the whole first quarter, and messed up the commercials got completely messed up because of
Because
that.
of that first drive.
Like the reason why we had the excessive commercials was because of that drive because
Yeah.
the first quarter went by like that. But we were all concerned. We were like, okay, Notre Dame, if the defense comes to play after that, we could be in trouble. We were all concerned. And it's a fair point. The way that they went down, they controlled the clock, got up. We could not afford a 3-and-out there. G. Scott had a really clutch play where he caught a 5 yard out and but it wasn't a true 5 yard out. He caught that pass and he fought for like 4 extra yards to set up a very manageable,
And, and
basically kept the offense on schedule. And that right there, when that happened, I was like, okay, we're gonna be okay. And then Jeremiah got the first down, and then we started to.
Emeka Buka, the most reliable receiver, 1,000-yard receiver again. Unfortunately, he had that fumble, which is just a great play by the defender. But
It was. I mean, like anyone, like I hate that like that counts as a fumble and like it's a bad play because that's just unfortunately there's no way to even like stop that if you're a ball carrier because you unless you know that they're going if you're holding it high and tight and just it like there's nothing you can do.
yeah, I think Emeka Buka, all-time leading receiver in receptions. I think and yards, or did he get the yards? I don't think he got the yards.
I don't think he got the yards.
But I mean, great career for Emeka Buka. Carnell Tate was wide open, just overthrown him on that one play. I I love what the offense did. I love what Chip Kelly did. I know a lot of people were anxious at the end, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't mind it, and then boom, that 3rd and 11 happened.
Will
Defensively,
Will Howard on the 3rd and 11 too. If you so, I want to talk about that 3rd and 11 real quick. A couple things I loved about that 3rd and 11. One, the the stones on Ryan Day and Chip Kelly to call that. It was Jeremiah Smith. If you watch that, the first couple plays before that, it was 1-on-1 every time, and I'm like, he's 1-on-1, but they wanted to kill some timeouts. Number two, watch Emeka Ibuka on that play. Watch the route he runs. He torches the corner. The corner falls down, and essentially the safety who was gonna, I guess, be over the top on Jeremiah immediately had to go to Emeka because Emeka was wide open for the first down, and probably you can make the argument he has a chance to score if he catches that running. Three, Will Howard the entire way, if you watch that play, it's to Jeremiah. Will knew exactly where that ball was going. Watch it in slow motion. And fourth, I forgot this. Trey Henderson, Travion. He didn't have a crazy game stat wise, but watch that block he had in the pass pro, picking up the blitz. Arguably one of the grittiest plays of the night and one of the most important to set up that catch.
yeah. Um, Real quick before we go into our defense, Xavier Watts had a quiet 8 tackles. He was only a factor on 1 tackle for loss. I thought, yeah, he had 8 tackles, but it was against receivers.
He had the nice pass breakup on Trey, where Trey did the wheel route out of the backfield and Will
Then
lost.
they both looked at each other, and Xavier Watts was like, "You didn't catch that?" Like,
No, yeah, that was kind of a funny moment, and then they dapped each other up, and
yeah,
I enjoyed the sportsmanship there.
yeah. Defensively, great defense, stout defense on stopping the run. Notre Dame had 255 yards passing. Hear this, Dan. 53 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love, 4 carries, 3 yards.
You want to know their long of rushing on the day, bro? It was 9 yards. Their longest rush
By
was
Jared and Price. By Price.
the Jadarius.
Jaden Greathouse had a great game. He's a
Yeah,
good, phenomenal player.
he really had a good game. I'm
Some of
not
them passes Riley Leonard was dropping was wow, like best throws I've seen from him all year. And then of course Jordan Hancock, Davison Igbinosun, and then the one where they were panning on Denzel Burke and they called it on Caleb Downs, but the Hancock one, they called it on Caleb Downs. They pinned it on Denzel Burke, and we're all like, "What?" Like
yeah,
Denzel Burke turned it on in the playoffs.
he did. I know it didn't matter. Not trying to beat a broken horse, not trying to beat a dead horse. Just some questionable refereeing. The first drive, they clearly spotted a ball that was not a first down. They gave, I think it was going to be 4th and 1 by like at least a yard and a half. They just gave them a first down. Um, Once again,
We finally got a holding call.
we got a holding call, but
Should have get 5 more
I
because
think it was on Notre Dame's second drive. Riley Leonard scrambled kind of outside the pocket, threw a first down. Tyler Williams got held. The reason
a lot.
Leonard was able to get outside the pocket, like, got a handful of jersey, and then people are saying, "Oh, well, he let go. He let go as soon as it started impacting the play." Dude, the jersey was out here. Like, That's holding, guys. It doesn't matter if you let go. Like it's like saying, "Oh, I didn't mean to like run someone over. I stopped running them over once I
and
realized
and
you're
then
just crazy."
I mean JTT got a sack while being held. Um,
Yeah, once again, he got jersey, breastplate, and pads were coming off, and like they didn't call it,
yep.
and that's fine because we got the sack, but that was also what are we doing?
And then Caleb Downs and Cody Simon and Sonny Styles had some clutch tackles. Um, it's funny. People in the Slack group said Caleb Downs was horrible yesterday, and I'm like, what? But I
No,
just ignored it.
I think he was horrible at all. I don't think he really got many opportunities because the way Notre Dame ran their
Yeah,
offense, they didn't really run anything to the outside where
yeah,
Downs would fill that hole, and they weren't really pass heavy. It just wasn't a game for Downs.
right.
Yeah, I just think it was the way the game played. I thought JTT was fantastic. Cody Simon outside the first drive, he was pretty fantastic. The first
That's
drive
Sonny.
the first drive was weird, but it was a typical Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles, and I was talking to Mitch about this before the game. Mitch basically pointed out like Jim Knowles likes to,
Feel
um,
the teams out.
yeah, he feels the teams out basically. Like the first drive is kind of vanilla on defense, and we kind of like
You know,
figure out what they're doing, and if they're going to score, it's going to be that drive. But we let them burn through their script, and then after they burn through the script, that's when we're like, okay, do this blitz, move this guy here, do this. And like Knowles locked in, like the defense locked in.
I think and going special teams. I think special teams. Jaden Felding redeemed himself, hit two big field goals, especially the last one. Thought the punt team coverage was good. Kickoff coverage, obviously, they didn't get any returns. I think all around this was a great game by the Buckeyes. Great way to cap off a national championship season. And
Are we real quick? Are we officially putting to bed the special team the Ohio State has bad special teams narrative? Because I think you know,
it's not where I want it to be,
but
but
this
it got
season when you look
was
at
a
what
lot better this year than it was last year.
this year was miles better. Like
We got a
we had
punt return for a touchdown.
a return touchdown. We had a couple blocked punts. We had a couple we had a couple blocked field goals. Our field goal kicking is not as bad as people make it seem. Like I'm gonna be straight up with you. Fielding's
Yep.
numbers are not as bad as people complain.
Hey, hey, real quick. You know how I knew we were going to win this game?
How?
A couple days before we lost to Indiana in basketball at home. We went on to beat Oregon for the national championship. A couple days later, two days before we beat Notre Dame for the national championship, we lost at home to Indiana.
Ah,
Okay, the second to last game of the season at home against Indiana, we had a punt return for a touchdown.
I like where you're going.
This year, we had a punt return for a touchdown against Indiana.
I like it.
Yeah, and
I,
then oh, and by the way, we're playing Purdue right now in basketball, and we're winning.
that's crazy.
Minute 52 to go, 68-63. I still, I'm still getting like Chris Holtman but now, where do we go from here, Dan? We're national champions, and
it's
this is
tough.
it's tough, man.
It's
Um,
unfortunately with winning a national championship, it's a great thing, but unfortunately, there's going to be turnover. These got a lot of these guys have proven it and have earned chances to go to the NFL and make a lot of money. There's also guys on this team who have competed hard that maybe not gotten the playing time that they've wanted, who have earned jobs in spots at smaller universities.
Mitchell
Um,
Melton going
like
to
Mitchell,
Virginia.
yeah, which is awesome. Like Devin Brown going to Cal. I know Patrick Gerd was in the portal. It's just Guys like that, like
Shout, I want to shout out those guys:
I
Patrick
do.
Gerd, Devin Brown, Mitchell Melton, Kojo Antwi, guys that stayed. Said, "Oh, we're hitting the portal, but we're leaving."
And
Nothing against Gabe Powers and all them for leaving early. I get it,
um
but kudos to those guys. They got their ring.
and
They
that
go get a chance to showcase their skills somewhere else.
and that's the right way to do it. And
Yeah,
I'm all in favor, and I'm gonna root for them wherever they go. Like
yeah,
uh, I'm all in favor of them going somewhere, getting playing time, and getting a bag. That they deserve that. I know some people are going to be upset with that take and say, "Oh, or roster's getting poached and stuff." But it's like, no, you know what? If they have a chance to go earn, life-changing money that maybe they would not have seen here and better themselves, they will always forever be remembered as a 2024-25 member of this team and a national champion in my book. And they will always have a home at Ohio State and they will always be a Buckeye. And no one will ever take that away from them. And like I don't care from that one guy standing up being like in that, the meme with the guy standing up, but I think it's a great thing. And I think it's a great thing that guys can go to the NFL because at the end of the day, recruits are going to want to come here. Guys are going to want to transfer here. Guys are going to want to play for Coach Day because if you play for Coach Day, you're going to get a chance to win a national championship. You're going to get a chance if you don't start, but you compete. You're going to get a chance to potentially transfer it somewhere else and make a lot of money and get some playing time. So I think this is an awesome situation, and it just this is why Ohio State is the best. It
yeah.
it really is.
But you know what time it is on our next episode? The annual Bunch of Nuts Awards. This year we're excited. National Championship Edition, the Bunch of Nuts Awards. This one's going to be a lot of fun to do.
It is. It's going to be. I think we'll end up taking a week off like we usually do.
We need it.
We do.
We
Football season was a grind. We'll be off this week. Like this is so we're gonna take. We usually take a week off for the end of football season. So we're gonna take our well-earned vacation. We're exhausted, and then we're gonna get back into it with our award show, and then probably some basketball and stuff. But everyone who's going to the celebration this Sunday at the shoe, Cass is. I'm not because me and my wife bought tickets to a candy expo. That are not refundable and she really wants to go. So I've made my wife watch, days worth of football this year, so I'm going to do that. But I just want to thank everyone so much for listening to another season of the Bunch of Nuts podcast. Congratulations, everyone who out here. We're all national champs. And go Bucks, baby. Just it's been a great season.